Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. Make sure you get all notifications. What President Trump did today was absolutely fantastic. Pardoning George Papadopoulos and 15 others. I want to read you the Associated Press an article on May 13, 2019. It's actually an article that originated in the Washington Times. Rowan Scarborough wrote the article. George Papadopoulos says, Mueller report shows that I was clearly set up. It's true. I want to read this to you. George Papadopoulos, whose London networking began the start of the FBI's crossfire hurricane at the Trump campaign, was the wrong man. Now, there should never have been an investigation based on a conversation or drinks. This is absurd. This is absolutely absurd. So that's the first issue. With Trump, they began an investigation simply from a dossier, and then when they were called out for a dossier that was complete nonsense, literally purchased by Trump's direct political rival. I mean, the duplicity is unbelievable. They then said, well, it wasn't just a document that's complete garbage. No. It wasn't just a document that's complete garbage. You see, there was also a conversation between a Trump staffer and Alexander Downer. Don't you understand? It wasn't a dossier that set up everything. It was also a conversation at a London bar. So what? I mean, does that make any sense at all? A conversation? You're starting an all-encompassing investigation into everyone associated with President Trump because of a conversation that took place? And where is these were all baseless claims. Trump was in a hotel room. He worked with Russia. There was no evidence. Where was the evidence in a court of law that proved that Trump worked with Putin? It was completely baseless. There was no direct evidence, and there wasn't even circumstantial evidence. The circumstantial evidence was the dossier purchased by Clinton and the DNC, and a conversation that I'll read you here. This is very interesting, that actually proved that George Papadopoulos was set up. Quote, the report completely vindicates me and shows that I was clearly set up. Now that we all know the characters in my story were Western operatives, Papadopoulos told the Washington Times, citing Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report on Russian interference in the 2016 election. The issue of Russian interference is also a really absurd and bizarre notion. They're trying to silence President Trump and anyone who claims that Peter Navarro's 36-page report, for example, is relevant. But they said, oh, there was Russian interference because of Facebook ads. Was there any direct evidence? No. Can they name one Facebook ad that swung any voters in battleground states? No. So what they've done for the past 4 years is make claims without evidence, undermine the integrity of results of November 2016. They spent every single waking hour for 4 years sowing discord and all these lame phrases: sowing discord, undermining democracy, not accepting results, and it's pretty unbelievable. And then if you do that this in November, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Democratic Party finance dossier writer Christopher Steele falsely told the FBI of a massive Trump-Russia. FBI agents interviewed Papadopoulos in early 2017 as if he owned the keys to the kingdom, how Donald Trump and Moscow colluded. Agents urged the campaign to volunteer to fulfill them in on a new president's Kremlin capers. By the way, Kevin Kleinsmith was one of the people who tried to set up and frame George Papadopoulos. He was indicted for lying to a FISA judge while he was trying to set up and frame Carter Page. And I happen to think also that this is a precursor to Julian Assange being pardoned. I'm hoping and praying that it is. It's really interesting that the same people who perpetuated Trump Russia for 4 years are the same people who were saying, how dare you question democracy? It's like duplicity, the disingenuous nature, the hypocritical nature of the Democratic Party, media, apoplectic, seething, fuming liberals knows no bounds. But here, the most important issue is, if you look, oh Lord, I'll just keep reading. Okay. But in the microcosm of the entire 3-year FBI investigation, the agents went down the wrong alley. 2 judicial entities have cleared Papadopoulos of election interference. He weathered at least 2 FBI-placed spies, physical surveillance, search warrants, interrogations, and possibly wiretaps. In addition to that, nobody has ever pleaded guilty or been charged for conspiring alongside Russian agents. Then came Mr. Mueller's final report and the one-sentence verdict. Quote, no documentary evidence and nothing in the email accounts or other communications facilitated by the office shows that Papadopoulos shared this information with the campaign. A U.S. District Court judge first cleared him at a 2018 sentencing. He had pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about the circumstance of meeting a London professor. It was literally an email that he forgot the date of. That's it. That's the only thing they had on him, and they were trying. And any person watching, you could have been any Democrat watching, who says, "Oh, that's so horrible. Papadopoulos got away with it." Got away with what? He forgot the date of an email to a London professor who lied to the FBI, and then backtracked his claims, initially stating that Papadopoulos had any information about Russia or Clinton. They literally criminalized the notion that anyone could ever question Clinton or find Clinton's emails. That's not national security. Clinton is the one who had top secret intelligence on servers outside of the United States government. But here, quote, I don't have any reason to believe, and I don't think there's any reason in the record to conclude that Mr. Papadopoulos had any desire to aid Russia in any way, to do anything that was contrary to the national interest, said Judge Randolph D. Moss. So, there was nothing there. He never conspired or worked with Russia. It never, ever, ever happened. And yet you had this man's life completely upended. And what President Trump did was a fantastic thing. The information was gossip from the London-based professor Joseph Mifsud, who had just visited Moscow. The Maltese, it's like, so what? The Maltese man of mystery told the 20-something Trump advisor on April 26, 2016, that Moscow had dirt on Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton in the form of thousands of emails. We don't know. There's no way for there was no way for anyone to pin this nonsense on Papadopoulos, because if it was Mifsud that allegedly made the claim, and Alexander Downer that allegedly initially made the claim, or initially heard the claim, not Papadopoulos. So they could have simply made up everything. And yet the FBI said, well, if they told us that Papadopoulos said X, Y, and Z, we're going to go after this Trump campaign official. So here, as Mr. Mueller concluded, Papadopoulos didn't go running to Trump Tower with the news. Neither did he try to obtain emails or any other dirt. He was furiously networking Europe to try to set up a Kremlin-Trump meeting that never happened. Which is fine, but you can meet with foreign leaders. President Obama and Clinton met with Putin numerous times. Actually, Bill Clinton met with Putin at his home. So, but the absurd kind of paranoia they had, these are all claims without evidence. And now they demand categorical proof of everything Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood and the Peter Navarro's report and 1,000 affidavits. And if they don't get the categorical proof, you have tarnished democracy. Do you understand? He thought Mifsud might be referring to the much-discussed 3,000 emails that Mrs. Clinton ordered destroyed former days as Secretary of State. It was Papadopoulos who volunteered to FBI interrogators that Mr. Mifsud broached the email topic. And at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, they went after him. They went after his friends, his family, and they tried to ruin this man's life. And thank God, President Trump. And Papadopoulos is a hero. His wife is heroic beyond belief, and he is heroic beyond belief. They went up. Well, his wife is amazing. That's like a love story. There should be like a love story, like a movie about them. She stood by her husband when all might have been lost. And in this hysteria, this frenzy, this media hysteria that was purely based on baseless allegations. I mean, their love was like unbelievable. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. He didn't lie about conspiring with any Russian intelligence official. That never happened. Nobody was ever charged. And then you have the Dutch lawyer that was also exonerated and pardoned. What Democrats did is they made baseless allegations and investigated those baseless allegations. And the allegations were based solely on the belief of corrupt intelligence officials that literally said, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel. Thank you so very, very much.